Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Rimuru in Akame Ga Kill by alexkuhar360 Chapter 6, Capital Punishment. A few days later, Rimuru's POV. Now that the Elite 7 are no more, I have found myself in an interesting situation. It seems I was never actually registered as a member or any type of Imperial employee. This is bad for me in some ways because I no longer have the opportunity to climb the ranks of the Empire and gain access to the secretive information about the abilities of the Imperial arms. This development isn't without a silver lining though. Now I don't have a record and the only people who know me are Kurome and Akame. When the army showed up to shut the base down, I pretended to just be the cook that was hired and left, generating as little trouble as possible. Well, after eating only the files Gazuki had in his office, I think the best chance I have is to go to the capital and try to find people that might have the information I seek. Since for the past year and a half I have been training in infiltration and assassination, the most efficient plan would be to kidnap and torture important people that may know about a Tegu with some kind of spatial capabilities or one that could serve as an extremely large power source. I can't go after any extremely prominent figures though because I don't want to draw that much attention. I haven't fought anyone with a Tegu yet, and even though I am confident I could easily beat pretty much anyone, I am not as confident in a 1v2 or 1v3. With all this in mind, I have now separated from Kurome and will go to the capital for info while she travels to another unit and Akame travels who knows where with the resistance. Now it is time to set out with the shirt on my back and the sword on my hip, and the money and other things in my stomach. A few weeks later in the capital, this city is very impressive. I am currently at the inn. I will be staying out for a while in the capital and laying low. I never hadn't visited any human cities back in the other world when I got transported here. I wonder if they are as massive as this. Probably not. Even though the city is beautiful and a real testament to the success the Empire once had, it is easy to tell that everything is not going well here. The looks on the people's face are proof enough, and the way the kids are scared to play in the streets speak volumes about the oppressive feeling in this city. I'm not in the highest class part of the town as to not to draw attention, and on the way here I saw multiple people start following, so I can infer that I have become a target for abduction and enslavement. I have noticed that in the past few days I have been feeling like I was on a short fuse. I need someone to take out my anger about being in the world on, and I think a group volunteered when they started following. At nightfall I go out to get dinner since eating every day has become a habit I started when I started training to make sure I gave the most human impression as possible. Once I finished and I could feel eyes on me, I started walking into a dark and scarcely populated part of town after putting my sword in my stomach to give the impression I have unarmed. After walking around side streets for a few minutes, someone grabbed me and put a bag on my head before smashing the back of my head with the handle of a sword to knock me out, which obviously didn't do anything to me, but I played along. I could hear the thugs talking as well. Hey, she looked pretty hot. You think we could go a few rounds before we bring M to the boss? Are you a fucking idiot? Look at her clothes, they look decently expensive. I bet she's a virgin, and you know he pays triple for virgins. That and her looks I bet is worth a small fortune. Check her pockets for cash and help me get her up. Fine. Tomorrow we are definitely getting a taste, first virgin or not. I'm not paying for it from our boss when we can get it free and get paid after. You're just a fucking cheapskate, you stupid fuck. Let's get this going before we attract unwanted attention. I couldn't help but smile at their conversation. They would not be making it to tomorrow, and they definitely wouldn't be getting a taste, and neither would their boss. After being rolled up in a rug like this was some early 2000s movie, they started moving me. Being carried by two dudes in a rug down a cobblestone street is not very comfortable, but I managed, and after about 20 minutes we went into a building that I could sense 20 plus people in. Thankfully I would have plenty of people to blow some steam off against. I was pretty peeved about the stuff with Kurome going a little crazy, so these guys were so dead. Finally, after going through a few doors, I was finally set down and unrolled. I could smell the odor of drugs, alcohol, and sex. After my trial missions, it was not something I was new to or something that made me uncomfortable anymore. I quickly closed my eyes and went still as they pulled the bag off my head. Since I had magic sense I could see anyway, so it didn't matter. The guys that took me here were talking with the guy the first assumed to be the boss about how much they would get paid for me. I tuned it could mostly since it was other vulgar things about my sexual status, even though I am a man. After talking for a bit, the boss guy came over to me and picked up my chin and started looking me up like some creep. It's almost time for this charade to end. While he was looking at my face, I opened my eyes and stared right into his eyes. I saw the moment he reacted and his eyes widened in surprise. I just smiled as I grabbed his arm and flipped him into the wall to my back right. As I got to my feet, I took my katana out of my stomach and subconsciously gave off a bloodthirsty grin I scolded myself for revealing. Then the guys who kidnapped me started talking mockingly. Looks like we got a fighter here. It's good to have that kind of passion. Once you break, it's even better. Yeah, shut up and get to work. Do you have to sound like such a rapist? Like there is being a rapist and then there is acting and sounding like a rapist. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Let's, sir. I didn't let him finish and I was already on him with my sword, bisecting him. I quickly cut his partner down in similar fashion and make my way around the room, killing everyone that was armed or fighting me. The only people still alive were the boss and a few women who appeared to be drugged so far out of their minds that they could barely move. I made my way to the boss and grabbed him by the neck. He looked at me in fear and I just gave him a blank look while listening to his pleading. Just to be a troll, I spoke before killing him. The funny thing is, I'm a dude. What? There is no goddamn chance you are a man, dude. I couldn't help but look at the shock and disbelief as I stabbed him in the heart. After he was dead, I looked around and decided to burn the place down. There were still 6 women in the building and I was struggling to decide what to do. I could take them out of here and then burn it down, but chances are they are so addicted to the drugs that they would just go find someone else and get kidnapped, raped, and enslaved again. After a lot of thought, I made a black flame in my hand and let it ignite the wall and walked away. It might seem cruel to leave them for death, but in my mind they might have been alive, but they were no longer living. They had lived through hell and only had hell awaiting them. As such, I let them pass on to the next life and maybe get reincarnated into a better world like I did. After my little fun with those guys, I went to my main objective tonight. I learned about a major in the munitions department for the army that might know something about some Tegu. For the training and skill I had, the mission was so easy it was not even worth mentioning. And like most things not worth mentioning, I didn't get any useful information. The guy knew what they were and told me about a few of the more well-known ones that I already had in-depth knowledge about. I gave him a quick death for telling me what he knew, but I couldn't leave him alive since it would put me on the radar, which is something I didn't want quite yet. In the few days that I have been in the capital, I have found a lead that I didn't really want to have to follow since it was so far away, but since I am dry at the moment, I plan on going after it. The lead has to do with a religion. More specifically, the leader of it. Apparently he has visions or can see the future or something. The details are not well known and it is mostly speculation, but I plan to go see him. Even if the stories about his strange powers are not a Tegu, I'm sure with his power he knows something about Tegu or people who do. Sadly, however, the place where the religion and by extent him are based is a long ways away from here and will take time to get there and back. As long as the info is good, I don't mind, but I am also tired of getting small scraps or nothing from the people I find. It shouldn't take me more than a month in total, assuming nothing too crazy happens. Tomorrow I will set out on my journey east to find this pope-like figure. Hopefully I get what I want. The end.